Hey everyone. My name is Gretchen Wegner, by the way, and I was just reading this book for like the 160th time as a part of a video that I was making for a course that I have called Teaching and Coaching from a Distance, where I'm providing tips and tricks for people to figure out how to handle being on Zoom all the time when we are teaching and coaching kids and teenagers. So one of those videos is about how I work with Zoom and younger kids. And I was reading the story and I couldn't believe it. I just pulled it off my bookshelf as an example for how to read stories on Zoom. I'm going to read it to you all now because I just can't believe how much like coronavirus it is. And I'm also noticing that my computer's about to die, so I'm having to shift over to the plug. So give me just a second, and then we are going to read this book together. And it's meant for kids, and I think kids can maybe, in the past, they could have enjoyed it. But now with this new context, I'm not sure I'd necessarily read it to kids, but grown-ups. I think you will enjoy being read to right now. So let's check out Scaredy Squirrel by Melanie Watt. Warning. Scaredy Squirrel insists that everyone wash their hands with antibacterial soap before reading this book. Okay, see, that's the first, before this was funny. Like we thought he was like overly like cautious, and now kind of prescient, don't you think? Scaredy Squirrel. If you don't know Melanie's Scaredy Squirrel books, by the way, look them up. They are all so good and they are so easy to read on camera. As an auntie, that's how I have gotten exposed to her great books. So, okay. Scaredy Squirrel never leaves his nut tree. He'd rather stay in his safe and familiar tree than risk venturing out into the unknown. The unknown can be a scary place for a squirrel. And here's the arrow to the unknown. And here's Scaredy Squirrel stuck in his tree. Sound familiar, anybody? Okay, so here is a few things that Scaredy Squirrel is afraid of. He is afraid of green Martians and killer bees and sharks and germs. We're all pretty afraid of germs right now. Poison ivy and tarantulas. So, Scaredy Squirrel is perfectly fine staying exactly where he is. You'll forgive me if I miss some of the words. I'm reading it backwards and mostly have it memorized. Okay, so here are some advantages of never leaving the nut tree. First of all, there is a great view. Secondly, there are plenty of nuts, because I guess he's gone grocery shopping, huh? And then it's a safe place. And there are no tarantulas, poison ivy, green Martians, killer bees, germs, or sharks. However, there are also disadvantages of never leaving the nut tree, including same old view. We're all experiencing that right now in shelter in place, aren't we? Same old nuts and same old place. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is just kind of cracking me up. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. In Scaredy Squirrel's nut tree, every day is the same. Everything is predictable. All is under control. Scaredy Squirrel's daily routine at 6:45, he wakes up. At 7 a.m., he eats a nut. At 7:15 a.m., he looks at the view. At noon, he eats a nut. At 12:30, he looks at the view. At 5 p.m., he eats a nut. At 5:31 p.m., he looks at the view. And at 8 p.m., he goes to sleep. That's kind of been my schedule lately during shelter in place. I've been going to bed a lot earlier than I used to. Okay. But let's just say, for example, that something unexpected did happen. You can rest assured that Scaredy Squirrel is prepared. A few items in Scaredy Squirrel's emergency kit. He's got a hard hat and antibacterial soap and calamine lotion. He's got a parachute and spray and masks and rubber gloves. This one hits kind of close to home, huh? And a net. He's got, what does it say here? Sticking plaster. Is she from England? I didn't know where Melanie's from. And sardines. What to do in case of an emergency, according to Scaredy Squirrel. So, step 1, panic. We've all experienced that too, right? Let me adjust the computer just a little so there's a bit less glare. Okay. Step 2, run. Step 3, get his kit. Step 4, put on kit. Step 5, consult his exit plan. And step 6, let's let you all see it. And step 6, exit the tree. If there is absolutely, definitely, truly no other option, that is when he is going to exit the tree. And I love this. It says dramatization right there. So here is Scaredy Squirrel's top secret exit plan. Note to self, watch out for green Martians and killer trees in the sky. Exit plan number 2, note to self, do not land in the river. If unavoidable, use sardines to distract the sharks. Exit number 3, note to self, look out for poison ivy and for tarantulas roaming the ground. And exit 4, note to self, keep in mind there are germs everywhere. I can't decide if this would be scary to read to kids or if it would just make sense to read to kids because it's true. Right now, there are germs everywhere. Remember, if all else fails, I just remember this being so hilarious back in the pre-COVID times. Remember, if all else fails, playing dead is always a good option. With his emergency kit in hand, Scaredy Squirrel watches day after day until one day, dun, 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 Thursday, 9:37 a.m. A killer bee appears! Scaredy Squirrel jumps in panic, knocking his emergency kit out of the tree. Oh, can you imagine? This was not part of the plan. Scaredy Squirrel jumps to catch his kit. He quickly regrets this idea. The parachute is in the kit. But something incredible happens. He starts to glide. Scaredy Squirrel is no ordinary squirrel. He's a flying squirrel. And there's his kit falling. He feels overjoyed, adventurous, carefree, alive until, let's hold up before we get to that until. Scaredy Squirrel forgets all about the killer bee, not to mention the tarantulas, poison ivy, green Martians, germs, and sharks. And he forgets all of that because he feels so good flying for the first time ever in his life until he lands in a bush. And guess what he does? He plays dead. My niece and I used to laugh at this so much. 30 minutes later, still playing dead. 1 hour later, 2 hours later, still playing dead. Finally, Scaredy Squirrel realizes that nothing horrible is happening in the unknown today. So he returns to his nut tree. And this is like the poignant part, right? Nothing horrible is happening in his nut tree because there are hard things happening. In the unknown. There are hard things happening in the unknown in the world these days. So anyway, he returns to his nut tree. All this excitement has inspired Scaredy Squirrel to make a drastic change to his life. Here's Scaredy Squirrel's new routine. He wakes up, he eats a nut, he looks at the view, and then he jumps into the unknown. Here, whoops, glare again. He jumps into the unknown for a little bit. And then he plays dead because we all need, that's his self-protection, right? He plays dead, he returns home, he eats a nut, he looks at the view, he eats a nut, he looks at the view, and he goes to sleep. I identify when I go to grocery shopping, I am jumping into the unknown. Last page. P.S. As for the emergency kit, Scaredy Squirrel is in no hurry to pick it up just yet because it's in the middle of poison ivy where it fell. The end. So I just can't believe how relevant this book feels for these times. I hope the book, my reading it, brought a little joy into your life. And I'm going to go jump into the unknown right now by heading outside with my mask on to take a walk. Bye, y'all. Oh, if you don't know who I am, my name is Gretchen Wegner. I'm an academic coach, and I train teachers as well. And there's more information below about me. Anyway, I just wanted to have a little fun right now. Take care.